What's good? It's your boy Fannon. All right. Move the studio to the laundry room because I cannot find anywhere in my house where the sound is halfway decent. Welcome back to the channel, subscribers. All right, man, let's chop it up about this Canelo Alvarez, Daniel Jacobs, and what's going on in the 160-pound division. There's some things that Canelo Alvarez is talking about that I like, some things that I don't like, and, you know, some plans that I really, obviously not my plans, but some things I'd really like to see happen at 160 pounds with Canelo Alvarez now that he has 3 of the belts. And it seems like there might be some people trying to stand in the way of it. But let's chop it up about that. But before I get into all of that, I want to welcome you back to the channel, subscribers. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. This month is now 2 official years that we've been doing videos. Had a lot of growth. Trying to make improvements on the channel. You know, you see we got the new camera up and trying to work on, you know, different lighting and all that stuff just to be more professional, represent the LDBC to the fullest, you know. Anyway, though, thank you for your support. So let's get into this, man. Everybody knows that is familiar with this channel that I am a huge fan of Canelo Alvarez, man. The dude's a beast, just flat out. And anybody that tries to convince me that he's not a beast, I think to myself, come on, man, what do you see? You know, the guy can do everything. He's fought the best names in boxing, no doubt about it. From Shane Mosley to Cotto to Mayweather, Danny Jacobs, Gennady Golovkin. Right then, of course, my dog starts barking. Now, you know, my wife is probably walking in the house, but that's the type of cat he is, man. The dude can fight on the inside. He can fight on the outside, man. He got some of the best movement, waist movement, upper body movement in boxing. He's just all around a great fighter, man. So there's literally nothing that I really can criticize him in that fight about with Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs came to fight. He's an excellent fighter, but now that fight's over. And, you know, the deal is, you know, boxing is a sport of what have you done for me lately? So I'm in the what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for me next mode? So what I'd like to see from him next is unification at 160 pounds. And that's what Canelo was talking about doing. His trainer, Eddie Reynoso, mentioned that in an article that Keith Idec put out, that's what he wanted to do. Unify with Demetrius Andrade. If he could unify with Demetrius Andrade, they were going to do it. If they can't do that, for whatever reason they're not able to pull that off, then he'd like to move to 168 pounds to unify at 168 pounds. But ultimately his goal is to try to unify. But look, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this weight jump and stuff. That's enough. Okay. I appreciate 100% what the cat did at 154 pounds. And I think he's a lineal 160 pound champion. I got no qualms at all with anything this dude is doing in the ring, man. But, you know, one of the things that Gennady Golovkin didn't do, and I think a big criticism I got for Gennady Golovkin is that when he had the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF belts, he didn't unify with Billy Joe Saunders. And that was an opportunity to say that you're the man in the weight division. And I was listening to the DAZN commentary. I think it was Kenny, God, what is his name, man? Basically, one of the commentators, man, the guy that used to be on ESPN, called Floyd Mayweather Jr. a paper champ back in the day. And when he called Floyd Mayweather Jr. a paper champ, I was like, all right, this guy, I don't know what's going on in between his ears, man. But Floyd Mayweather Jr. was anything but a paper champ, man. Floyd Mayweather Jr. was the real deal. Anyway, he and Sergio Mora were going back and forth, and Sergio Mora, after that fight, said he had to write down on his paper to remind this guy, God, man, what is his name? To call refer to them as both as champions, because Daniel Jacobs is a champion as well. But after it, the guy kept on referring to him as, you know, saying, yeah, but Canelo Alvarez is the real champion. No, man, that's not how it works, man. That's not how I see it. I figure the only guy that can call himself the champion is the guy that has all the belts, that has all of the major championship belts. I mean, of course, you can't hold somebody responsible for getting the IBO or getting the XYZ belt or whatever, continental, A, B, C, D, E, F, G belt. None of that nonsense. But, the ones that are widely recognized as being the major championship belts, the IBF, the WBA, the WBC, and the WBO. And if you don't have all of those belts, you're a champion. You're not the champion. And that goes for all weight classes. 147, we've got 4 champions there. All those guys can say that they are a champion. None of them can say they're the champion. Now, also, it was the case that Usyk could say that, but Usyk can't say that now. I do believe Usyk gave up, I think he might have given up the IBF belt, but he's on his way up to heavyweight. So, now that thing's gone. But I would love to see somebody be able to, like Canelo Alvarez, and I would call this on Canelo Alvarez, man. I really think as a Canelo Alvarez fan, and look, man, I'm a Canelo Alvarez fan. Yeah, I'm going to criticize Combuterol, okay? I have to say something about that. Being a fan doesn't mean that I'm a sycophant, I'm going to say something about dehydration clauses. I'm going to talk, I want to say something about the fact that Daniel Jacobs took a 93-7 split for that fight, $2.5 million, and he had to pay up $1 million because he missed weight by 3 pounds. That rehydration deal that isn't even really that's really not even part of boxing. I mean, that's not even part of the rules. So, but so I speak up on all those things, man. But that's not the same thing as me saying I don't appreciate this dude Canelo Alvarez for what he does in the ring. That said, Canelo, finish your business at 160 pounds. You shouldn't let anybody stand between you and a fight with Demetrius Andrade. I don't care if it's Gennady Golovkin. I don't care who it is. Gennady Golovkin had his chance to unify and he missed it. Now, he got a lot of money for missing it, but Canelo's already got a lot of money, and I can't imagine he's going to get too much more money for fighting Gennady Golovkin for a third time than he would get for unifying and having all the belts with Demetrius Andrade. Now, if he beats Demetrius Andrade, and I say if, because I am on record saying this, the two toughest fights for Canelo Alvarez at 160 pounds are Demetrius Andrade and Jermall Charlo. Demetrius, for Jermall Charlo, I think even after seeing last night's fight, I definitely believe that he's going to be a tough match for Canelo, because Daniel Jacobs gave Canelo, some really, really good work in some rounds. And I think that Jermall Charlo is fundamentally, I think he's a little more sound, or no, I won't say fundamentally more sound, but I think that he's a more talented fighter than Daniel Jacobs. I think that, and I also think he's had his eyes on Canelo for so long, man, and he's coming in there. He's going to come in there and cause a lot of problems, man. And I see him doing at the minimum as well as Daniel Jacobs did in that fight last night. And that actually had some people thinking Daniel Jacobs won. Personally, not. I didn't. I didn't think he won the fight. I looked at my scorecard and I had it close, but I was like, oh man, this is a circumstance where, man, I think I might have got some rounds wrong, because the general feel of the fight for me was that Canelo Alvarez was winning that. But anyway, it is what it is with last night. Please, Canelo, unify with Demetrius Andrade. Then defend your belts. Defend, because there's one thing, two people have become the unified champion in the last 2 years. Terrence Crawford at 140 pounds, Alexander Usyk at 100 at cruiserweight. What is that? Between 175 and 200. Between 175 and 200. Alexander Usyk defended it one time against Tony Bellew. Terrence Crawford never defended it. To be a reigning champion with all of the belts at 160 pounds would, in my opinion, man, set that dude apart from things we've seen since Bernard Hopkins. I think Bernard Hopkins only did it for a couple fights, though. think he only did it for a few fights. Regardless, and I know it's difficult with all the sanctioning fees, all the sanctioning bodies, all the mandatories to hold that. That's just, kind of part of the sport of boxing right now. And it would be a lot easier if there weren't all those champions. But, we're in the situation that we're in. But at the very least, if he's going to move to 168 pounds and he's going to do this, this climbing thing that, that people are really putting a lot of value on, right? So, similar to like Mikey Garcia wanting to win the most belts in an 8-week plan, jumping from 135 to 140, back to 135, up to 147, and back down to 140 or whatever weight class he's going to be fighting at next. Seems like there's just a lot of value being placed on jumping around weight classes. I would much rather see the emphasis be put on being the one guy in your weight division. And when you're a guy like Canelo can actually do it. It's going to be more difficult for people like at 147 pounds to do it because there's nobody that is really like leaps and bounds the money man in that division. And that's the scenario that Canelo Alvarez is in. Even in the situation where you have it at heavyweight, right? You have this talk about Anthony Joshua being the big guy and all that in the heavyweight division. But you see that there are pay-per-views and things taking place that do not include Anthony Joshua, and a lot of people invested in Deontay Wilder, right, to make fights happen and make things happen with him. But at 160 pounds, man, there's nothing stopping these guys from making that Demetrius Andrade fight unless they're really just chasing the money on Triple G. So anyway, that's my take on it. You let me know what you think in the comment section. Hey, if you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell icon. And with that, I'm out. Peace.